see. Look how perfect that worked out.
It's
That worked
11
out
o'clock.
reasonably well.
They tried their best. They tried to sneak in there.
They
and,
tried.
tried to truncate you, man. I saw
Oh,
that.
I certainly feel truncated.
They took him out at the knees.
Truncate you, boy.
See, this is the age of helpful robots.
Oh no, they are not helpful.
Would you like
at
to
all.
download this now? Would you like
Would
to?
you like me to completely erase your a hard drive? No, it's being done for you. You're welcome. What?
I'm feeling like a bonobo monkey, where
Oh, the bonobos.
bonobos.
The
The
bonobos.
ones that they found out they actually liked. They showed a preference for members who were not cooperative or who were
Yes.
troublemakers.
Isn't that fascinating? Yes. I like troublemakers.
Complicated. Hey, speaking of troublemakers, good morning, Robert.
Good
Strong.
morning, Richard Pollock.
Yeah.
Hey, we are listening to radio. Well, we are broadcasting, and you are listening to Radio Science News. This is. Pardon me, just one moment there. The British Royals. That's just a little say hey there to the royal family.
Yeah, well, and we did have the passing of
Yes.
Prince Philip,
Yes,
who
we
was
did.
99, and I
99.
mean, literally just short of 100 years old.
Short
so
of 100 years old. What a cool guy.
That
So
was good.
we're doing Radio Science News. This is episode number 780 in a series. I know. Isn't that truly astounding?
amazing.
And so this is April 10th, 2021. If you're into prime numbers, and I know you are, anything that ends in a 0 is not. So the factors are 2 and 2 and 3 and 5 and 13. Which is a nice array of prime numbers. So yeah, I'm real excited. We've been doing Radio Science News now for quite some time. I was mentioning to Richard that we have an anniversary coming up. April 24th is going to be our 15th earthly anniversary. Because as you remember, last week we had our 62nd Mercury anniversary. Oh,
Hey.
we're just all over the solar system,
Well,
aren't we?
Who can say? I'm
Who
not
can
gonna-
say?
I'm not
What
gonna-
can say?
I will not deny it. I can neither confirm nor deny it.
No, I will not. But I'm so amazed that we've been doing this for 780 weeks in a row.
Yeah, good.
That's truly astounding. So, as my computer boots up, because I was having some computer problems. If you're not having computer problems, then you're not
living,
using
yeah.
a computer.
That's
To be honest. I am going to go to my favorite webpage on the internet, which is www.smartcenter.org. And once there, click on the little trifecta rainbow shirts there that you see that in triplicate say Radio Science News, Radio Science News, Radio Science News. Just above that, click on the words Radio Science News, and that will take you directly to the launch pad of science that Richard lovingly, and when I say lovingly, I mean
do
with
it.
true love.
I do love
he
it.
puts this up every week for our sciencing convenience. And if I find something interesting, I send it to him. If one of our friends like a Raymond out there who we talked about last week, and in fact I think we got his hometown wrong.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I like I said, I had I have a voicemail message that gets automatically translated, and it had up some garbled things, and then it said Rockport. And
Rockport,
but
and it
he's
was
actually in
Woodstock,
Woodstock. Yeah,
yes.
how you could mix those two?
I don't know how that can happen, but the computer was doing it for you. So
Well, and
there
some
you are.
people who have been in Woodstock, if they weren't mixed up, they got mixed up. Wonderful place, wonderful point in history. And actually, I'm excited because I have Robert sends me these topics. Like one of his favorite was the Mars
The
spiders.
Mars spiders. I know. The
And-
only spider I don't want to kill.
Well, And then, of course, I took it and I created a theme that's probably distorted his original intent. But you'll have
I'm
fun.
sure.
I'm telling you, you're going to have fun with it. I promise you. Good stuff.
I'm into it. So if as my computer is rebooting here, if you want to take us through the
I'm going to run through it quick.
Launchpad of science stuff there.
I'm just going to say at the very end of it, we're going to take a quick look at the variant chart, but just a quick look because we have good stuff. We have Hexapro vaccine. We have the delicious Soyuz MS-18. I thought it was interesting.
That does sound good.
How it got to be called MS-18. I wonder if
I
Bill.
don't know.
I wonder if Bill Gates is involved with that. But I did want to clarify. Somebody did clarify for me that.
Doubt.
Now, somebody clarified for me that Matthew Gates is not related to Bill Gates. I wanted you to say that too. Okay, then we have Ingenuity, which is a wonderful little helicopter on Mars, where the Mars spiders are.
Yeah.
And then
Home of the Mars spiders.
a clue for people who really understand where we're going with is I have Ziggy Stardust. And if that doesn't ring a bell for you,
It should.
It'll be clarified. ET dust, extraterrestrial dust. And then one of our kind of favorite annoying stories is the object that came from. Wait, this sounds like a movie trailer, doesn't it? The object from another solar system.
space.
Yeah, it was kind of the first object that was identified as being.
An extrasolar object.
And so that was cool. And it was discovered or at first seen as it was leaving. It was like, well, I first saw him as he was leaving.
Yes.
It was departing in the folks in Hawaii. So being Hawaiians, they called it, like they have the, King Kamehameha and the fish that swims by where everything is repeated. They have the Oumuamua.
The Oumuamua.
Oumuamua, which means scout or something like that.
Right.
So anyway, we're going to talk about that because there's some new information on Oumuamua. And then following that, because it just makes sense, is the muon.
The Oumuamua.
The muon wobble, which is for some reason just lit up everybody's pages about the idea that this is going to potentially change
New science.
physics.
Yes.
Going, what? And we'll talk about why the muon wobble caused such consternation and excitement. Something new from the world of graphene that is almost counterintuitive, but really interesting. And one of the things that's coming from the Biden folks is, as he actually started way back when, launching sort of a mission to find cures for cancer. They're reinvigorating that effort and putting real money into it. A neat story about CRISPR. Now we talk a lot about CRISPR and the Cas, the system for editing the genome and all this. One of the cool things is somebody has found out, well, yeah, you can edit the gene, but if you do that, boy, it's changed. The gene has changed. The genome has changed.
Sure.
They found out that they can actually use concepts based on CRISPR to what they call epigenetics. It's not the gene itself, it's the expression of the gene. Mm-hmm. And they have found something really cool, and this is called CRISPR off. They're able to turn off the epigenetics of a genomic. It's really a cool thing. So anyway, and we do have the variant chart. I just want to take a quick look at the variant chart and see whether it's safe to go outside today. and we all want to be as safe as we can.
We sure do.
And one of the first things that helps us do that is to have good, or at least accurate information. I can't necessarily sometimes say it's always good. This is good data, but wow, it's the chart that we have put up just because the main thing of concern right now is the variant that has sort of taken off as the most serious. They call it a variant of concern if you look over there in the chart, and the so-called it's called B117, and that's interesting. I didn't realize if you float over the thing, it gives you other information.
Oh, that's cool.
The current share of B1117, if I put my cursor over it, is 27%. Now, okay, and to make that easier, because Robert's such a, we're like math people. We like this kind of math stuff. If I look at this it's a 2-week sequence, and it's now 27%. If I go to the last week, it's 12%, Robert. So I would say just for my math skills that's more than double.
More than doubles, yes.
Okay, and then if I go back, the last time that was 12, and before that, it was only 5.
Wow, so it goes from 5% to 12% to 27%?
Yikes. Okay,
Yikes.
so
Yikes indeed.
I'm not even going to ask anybody to, if you would care to predict where it's going to be, you'll get an idea that
I
this is
think
scary.
it's going to be over 27%. That's my bet.
That's a scary thing. All right, so
Yeah.
we have so many good stories. I'm going to jump into one that I found really fascinating because I got this from the Twitter feed of Dr. Rick Bright. People go, what's happening with old Dr. Rick?
What's going on with Doc?
Dr. Rick Bright, who, well, there's a lot more story to be told, but the important thing is what's he doing going forward. He's now working with the Rockefeller Foundation. He's basically in charge of pandemic protection, and they're putting big money and big research into it. And he posted this based on something that was sent to him. He basically retweeted this. And
Is the thing
Hexapro.
Hexapro? Okay.
Yeah, it says, and the thing that was interesting about this is it said researchers are hatching a low-cost coronavirus. A new formulation that's entering trials in Brazil, Mexico, Thailand, and Vietnam could change how the world fights the pandemic. Now again, this is a story. One of the interesting things that's happening with the pandemic, and of course, I'm just so folks who have been following this know that, of course, I sent back to him. And wouldn't it be wonderful if this vaccine could be delivered with a vaccine patch?
With a vaccine patch. Wouldn't
And
that
that's
be
another whole
wonderful?
story. But they're showing, I mean, one of the big things is, all the rich countries, I'm thinking that would be, we think like the United States,
us,
and France,
the
and
US.
Germany, and the United States. They're making vaccines and paying for them. And the issue is going to be, but if you don't have vaccines for everybody, for example, it says, this new vaccine is clinical trials in a new molecular design that's widely expected to create more potent antibodies than the current generation of vaccines. And the best part is the new vaccine could be far easier to make. It says that the vaccines that are coming from companies like Pfizer and Johnson & Johnson are produced in specialized factories using hard-to-acquire ingredients. And in contrast, this vaccine can actually be mass-produced in chicken eggs. The same way they do.
That's interesting.
It says the same eggs that produce billions of influenza vaccines every year. So the thing that's so cool about this is if this proves to be safe and effective, they're just basically going to turn it over. I know India and places where the flu vaccine manufacturers could produce well over 1 billion doses of it a
That
year.
sounds like a plan.
Which is really important because, and this is a sad statement, low and middle income countries are currently struggling to obtain vaccines.
To get any vaccine.
Yeah, from the wealthier countries because and I love this from Andrea Taylor, who's the assistant of the Duke Global Health Innovation Center, says that's staggering. It could be a game changer. And then again, as I point out, Robert, what if you had this vaccine and you could deliver it with a vaccine patch?
Vaccine patch.
All right. So anyway, this is a really cool story.
Think that would be an even greater game changer.
Now the thing that's cool is if you look down, it says. It's a home run for protection, says Dr. Bruce Innes of the PATH Center for Vaccine Innovations and Access, which has coordinated the development. It's got a big, long NDV-HXP-S. And he says 2P to the rescue. And what he shows is what they're calling it's called Hexapro. It's a modified version of the SARS-CoV-2 spike with its 6 key alterations shown in red and blue. So, the proteins, I know that one of the things some people were using, one part of the spike, and this just gives you a little description. One of the reasons why this is considered better at whatever the approach is, they're talking about that if you just took the spike proteins, which were the basis for some vaccines, it says it's not the best way to vaccine because the spike proteins sometimes assume the wrong shape and prompt the immune system to make the wrong antibodies. Mm-hmm. So this is cool. This is what they're calling it, the Hexapro, and they figured some of this out way back in 1915. And so
isn't that amazing?
It talks about how they understand that the spike protein is a shapeshifter. Hence, we're talking about the variants,
right?
And it gives you kind of a detailed way about the post-fusion spikes and things. Anyway, it says the resulting spike, which is called 2P for the new proline molecules it contained, was far more likely to assume the desired shape. And what they found out that they've done animal research at this point, and it was easily able to fight off, the MERS coronavirus. So this little history of it's just been lurking in the back while everybody else was, these other people Johnson & Johnson, Moderna, Pfizer, BioNTech. Oh, it says they're actually now using that. That's the 2P spike that they are using. Anyway, so it goes on and it says that, of course, having those two is good. The point is this new thing, and why they call it Hexapro, is it doesn't have just 2 prolines. It has 6.
Yeah.
So that's why this is going to be...
That's just awesome.
This is a really cool story.
Really wonderful.
I am excited, and we'll follow this and hopefully be able to report on the fact that it's been developed and maybe being deployed with a vaccine needle, microneedle array patch.
Well, and
Another
one
story.
of the things that we've been talking about is that you can't just give the vaccine to one place
Yeah.
or 10 places.
Yeah,
You have
'cause
to
that's
give them
right.
to all places. Yes, as quickly as we possibly can.
Well, and the other thing that's really promising about this is, till I actually read all the way through it, I hadn't noticed the part where the what they call the 2P, the proline, that actually was the basis for the the mRNA, the Modernas and all that. The fact that this one is actually addressing all of these six sites on the spike
That's
protein
fantastic.
means that it'll be very unlikely that it can escape the antibodies that will be produced. So
That'd be nice.
That's wonderful.
That'd be really nice.
Well, you know what else would be really nice is
What?
if we could get along with the Russians and cooperate on things.
If only.
If they were good things.
If
Well,
that they were.
I was so excited to see. I happened to catch a little thing. I don't know how I managed to bump into it, but I was looking at a NASA thing or something, and they were. Oh no, I know what it was. I turned on some cable TV thing, and I just accidentally pushed a button, and the NASA TV came up, and they were going through all the details of the orbital insertion and all that. And I hadn't even noticed that they had launched the new International Space Station crew. And April 9th, Soyuz launches a new crew to the International Space Station.
Ah, the MS-18 Soyuz.
Yeah, and of course it's lifting off from the Baikonur Cosmodrome. There's a picture of the like the way the gantry moves away,
And it's carrying 2 Russian cosmonauts and 1 American astronaut.
See, we can all get along.
Well, I would
Hope so,
I hope
yeah,
so,
yeah.
because that's pretty tight ugliness there.
Yeah, this is cool. Well, anyway, this was kind of a good thing. I know at some point, Novitsky, commander of the Soyuz MS-18 spacecraft, will return to Earth in October on that spacecraft. And Dubrov and Van de Heij may remain for up to a year.
Wow, that's a long time to be in a microgravity.
This is cool. Yeah, I'm just scrolling down real quick. Always this talking about how. They are looking to, because I was thinking, wait a minute, I thought we had, we're not quite, they're talking about the Crew Dragon spacecraft is scheduled to launch in October 23rd. So this is kind of like a handoff now to the, that Elon Musk guy and his bunch of characters.
His bunch of characters. They are, too.
Well, it's okay. I'm including him in my new cowboy song, Robert, so...
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, my new song about the Tesla pickup truck, that I think is going to sweep the country charts.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
So, but now we have one verse that I'm not sure we're going to use because it goes something like it's Twitter follows SpaceX on my Google machine. I thought it might be alien porn, but nothing was obscene. Yeah, I don't know. That may not.
I don't know.
I might not float.
I think it needs a little bit of work.
maybe eliminated. I always thought that the word SpaceX was a little
Hit delete.
delete. Well, but I mean, I even thought that Elon Musk, when they started their company, that maybe they could have thought of something else besides SpaceX.
Yeah, well,
just me.
Okay. I am just going to say it because I have been thinking this for a long time.
Oh no.
He is
Yeah.
a large child.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And really, we need to understand that.
Well, it's true.
For instance, he calls his a rocket the BFR. And I'm not going to tell you what that stands for because most people can figure that out. And he thinks that's just, that's so funny because,
yeah.
It's like, your sense of humor is like second grade. and you don't need to swear, and it's just like, it's just, come on,
I'm
Elon,
going to
get with the program, grow up.
I'm going to register.
grow up.
I'm going to register your complaint. But I am saying,
Please do.
We are kind of
I'm not happy with him.
we are poking fun of Elon with our.
I
little country
always do.
westerns.
Yes.
Now, if you were on Mars today,
If I
Robert,
were, Ingenuity.
Ingenuity, the name of the little helicopter that could. Now, I think is that we actually, I put this up because it's an older story. Well, the story was about the fact that the Ingenuity was getting ready to do its first flight.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it actually happened sometime. Oh, here it is. They were talking about no earlier than April 8th. So
Right.
I think it actually did its first, and when I put the NASA, I thought there might be an update that says exactly. Oh, wait a minute. So there's the little helicopter. Go down to the Mars helicopter, and I'll let you maybe click on it. It'll have some.
Down to the Mars. Oh, there we are.
It's
Mars
cool.
helicopter technology demonstrator. Hey, the reason that I was laughing was again, when you're on Mars and you call something, it weighs 4 pounds, guys.
Yeah.
Things. Okay. Pounds are a measure of weight. Weight is a measure of force. Gravitational force depends upon the planet you're on, so you can't define something in pounds on the Earth and then take it to Mars and call it the same amount. That's why we use kilograms. That's what scientists use, and they put the kilograms in parentheses because they're just. So, if you work for this NASA place,
Yeah.
stop calling things by pounds, especially when you're talking about things on Mars. Unless you're talking about Martian pounds, now that's a completely different concept. But Earth pounds are not Mars pounds. Okay? Talk about kilograms only. Okay, so after my short little rant
Well, yeah,
there,
and at the very least, you would like them to say, like when it says before Ingenuity takes its first flight, it must be squarely in the middle of its airfield, a 33 by 33 foot, and then they put the metric in parentheses.
10 meter by 10 meter
You want it to
patch.
be at least the other way around.
Yes.
I agree.
At least use the proper metric
That's right.
first and then do the other one. But if you're talking space, never, ever, ever use the word pounds. Ever.
And I'm probably going to make a mistake here, but I
will too.
I was thinking that a meter was 3.39, isn't it?
It's 3.28.
Okay, so we are pretty close when they rounded up. Okay.
So if we go 33...
I was thinking when they had rounded, they made a rounding error.
Yeah, so if you got 10 times 3.28, that's 32.8, and then they
We can let
wrap
'em round
around,
up,
round up to 33. Okay, so let me go down to my Mars helicopter demo. Let's make sure my sound is
Oh, I want to hear the helicopter on It's got a very thin atmosphere. Oh, wow, listen to it.
Ooh. I like that subsonic
It's got- they have a-
woofer thing going on there.
They've got a sound system built into it.
Okay, so it's showing the rover moving away from the helicopter so the fan blades don't mess anything up.
Oh, yeah.
And the fan blades are going, and it's moving around some Mars stuff,
Oh, my
and
gosh.
it's lifting off. And off it goes, and it's being watched by the rover camera as the camera tilts into the sky. This would be really cool to see in person. I'm going to take down the sound just a little bit there.
Looks like it has counter-rotating props, as it should.
Which is exactly what you should have. Nicely done there, NASA.
Well, it's a nice video.
And it then can land. And now it appears to have a solar panel on the top so that it can keep recharging, which
Yeah, that's what I'm
makes
thinking.
perfect sense. Now, as anybody that's ever flown a drone knows, that drone can only go for so long, right?
Right.
So that's what the little solar panels are.
Well, that's good. And it's going to be a very modest flight. Of course, Robert, it'll be 3 meters, or as we say in parentheses, 10 feet.
Yeah, at least.
Well, at least the seconds were right. See, they're metric in this. They're the same both ways. All right, this is cool.
That was very nice.
Good things happening with that mission on Mars, and because of that, Robert sent me. I'm sure it was a pure coincidence, but I turned it into a little theme here. The next topic is Mars spiders. This is something.
Love this. I think this is so cool.
Well, this was something that was actually seen years ago. Yeah.
yes.
So I'll let you. So this is, of course,
All right.
this makes sense. This from the
Daily Mail.
the UK.
Says bizarre, in quotes, spiders on Mars are made by carbon dioxide vapor escaping from cracks in polar ice during the Martian spring.
Nice.
NASA reveals following 20 years of research.
Wow.
So what I find fantastic is we've been looking at Mars really close for a long, long time. And these were first seen 20 years ago, and so we're still finding out more things about it. So scientists has observed spider-like patterns near the Martian poles for 2 decades. It was believed that these aeroforms were caused by plumes of carbon dioxide vapor bursting through the ice caps. Researchers finally confirmed the theory by putting dry ice in a chamber simulating the Mars's atmosphere. When the dry ice was lowered and lifted off the beds of gravel, the same spindly patterns appeared.
Spindly
I
patterns.
love this. And the pictures of these are just
Spindly
phenomenal.
patterns.
They're just gorgeous.
Oh, I finally see what the word, the term spider-like in Latin is araniform. So
Exactly. Isn't that neat? Like arachnid.
yeah, it's a
Yeah.
related.
So
I have so many ads
these
popping
spider
up on
forms.
this thing. I could barely
I do
make
too.
it through.
I do too. The only problem that I have with these folks is that it's
I have
ad,
no, I
ad
finally
after ad
see it.
after
There
ad
we go.
after ad after ad.
Ooh, those are cool looking.
Yeah, they are really cool. I just wanted to say that if you've got time, please read through this. The images are just spectacular. The first one, the sort of a reddish pink one, is really cool, but the black and white ones
Yeah.
below are
Close,
just
little-
amazing.
They are scary looking.
They are. It says troughs across the surface of Mars that appear in spring are called aniniforms because of their arachnid-like appearance. New researchers has confirmed the long-suspected theory that these patterns are caused by sunlight warming the ice and allowing CO2 vapor to break through. The sand and dirt displaced by the carbon plume lands in branch-like patterns that can be over 3,000 feet wide. And again, please use the metric system, but hey,
Hey, that's
and
pretty cool.
just really well done. And then there's all kinds of neat
there's their little
things.
test, yeah.
Yes, and there's here's some tests. Here's a neat image of the Mars emulation chamber. Just great science that's going on here.
That is cool. And then there's a nice little diagram, ABCD, the kind of how it forms.
Yeah.
And what is this big chamber? Okay, well that's
Isn't
all
that
good.
cool?
That's all well and good, Robert.
Yeah.
For science, but
For science.
I wanted you to have the whole story. So I have, of course, Ziggy Stardust, which I'm sure you're very familiar with Ziggy Stardust.
I know
right?
Ziggy.
Okay, if you click on this, what you find out is that I remember somewhere in the deep recesses of my mind, maybe from Woodstock, I decided to play a little bit of course, the first manifestations of David Bowie. One of them was Ziggy Stardust and the Spiders from Mars. That was the name of their band.
Oh, that's right.
So I'm going to let you play. Are you playing it?
Yeah.
I'm going to turn mine off. We're just going to let him go for a few seconds. The surprise, I was kind of surprised because I wasn't sure which songs the Spiders from Mars sang. We'll just enjoy this.
Okay.
There they are, the Spiders from Mars singing.
Take your protein pills and put your helmet on.
What does this bring back memories?
Go to Major Tom. Exit countdown, engines on.
This is all science stuff.
Is that what it is?
and they got love.
Here comes the payoff. Wow. Doesn't that just give you chills?
It does. It's really fun. And I had completely forgotten that these guys were called Spiders from Mars.
Oh yes.
Well, thank you.
The other thing that's cool about this video is they're playing. David Bowie's playing an acoustic guitar.
Is he?
Yeah, I mean,
This is my to ground control. I'm stepping through the door. I'm floating in a most peculiar way.
Definitely.
All the stars look very
So this was 1973.
yeah.
Oh,
All right, that's enough of the good old boys.
okay. In your tin can.
Yeah. So and the thing is, if the Ziggy Stardust and the Spiders from Mars, and it was it was called the Aladdin. Like I think it was like from the Arabic, Aladdin Sane UK tour. So a little
Spiders from Mars.
that's especially for people that live in Woodstock.
Yeah, oh, well,
They
hey,
would
if
know
you're
about
from
that.
Woodstock, you got to know the
knows
Spiders from Mars.
Ziggy Stardust. All right, so this next, since we're gonna, I wanted to continue with some space things because I was. One of the things that you and I have often talked about, it's so much fun. Like when we do go to have a meteor watch, like
I love
some of
meteor
the local
watches.
parks and
Yep.
things. This is a cool thing where they went through a real calculation to try to get a good sense of how much the extraterrestrial dust
Okay.
that manages to fall to Earth.
It says here more than 5,000 tons of extraterrestrial dust. Now, if you're thinking of how many little particles that is, that's amazing.
Well, and also it's amazing because when they say actually fell to Earth,
Right.
most of the things, an awful lot of the things that hit the atmosphere and think maybe they're going to fall to Earth,
Right.
end up being just turned into gases and
Right.
they're obliterated and
Yes.
gone.
It says every year, and this is April 8, 2021, every year our planet encounters, and I think there's speaking of the Earth, dust from comets and asteroids. These interplanetary dust particles pass through our atmosphere and give rise to shooting stars. Some of them reach the ground in the form of micrometeorites. An international program conducted for nearly 20, I assume that's 20 years,
yeah.
has determined that 5,200 tons per year of these micrometeorites reach the ground, which means a lot more enters the atmosphere.
Yeah.
Wow. See, again, if you're talking about the mass of each one of these little things, are they
Oh yeah. So it's
it
so
says
tiny.
these expeditions have collected enough extraterrestrial particles ranging from 30 to 200 micrometers in size to measure their annual flux, which corresponds to the mass accreted on Earth per square meter per year.
And for fun, if the project itself was really cool. Because what they went to some place where they'd have some like pristine snow or so, So they went to, it tells is a big long thing about how they the notes down here. But they I think they found it had an area in Antarctica. Is that right?
Yes,
Yeah.
in the heart of Antarctica, Dome C is an ideal collection spot due to the
There it is.
low accumulation rate of snow and the near absence of terrestrial dust.
Wow.
Okay. So they did this. They had the comparison of dust. The notes comets are made of dust and ice. They come from, an asteroid is a mainly rocky celestial body of between a few hundred meters to
Look
several
at all these folks that are
kilometers in
involved, yeah.
size.
This is really nice. They have all this.
This is really well done. Okay, so and down here, 1 micrometer is equal to 1,000th of a millimeter, or one. Yeah.
Very
Okay,
cool.
so I love the fact that they've got notes. That's really, really cool. So did they somewhere tell us what the micrograms per square meter are? Have they done that math somewhere?
Well, yeah, I didn't see it exactly. But
Okay.
Yeah, basically it's. Wow, I just had something pop up. I can't even get rid of it here. Let's see. I didn't click on that. Wow. Of course, I'm using a touchpad, and sometimes,
Yeah.
if I should quit licking my
sometimes it
fingers
gets a
before
little-
I. No, that's not it. It was that donut that I had.
Oh, donuts.
All right, let's get on to the latest news about Oumuamua.
Okay.
Oumuamua, Oumuamua. Sounds like a song you'd hear as you approached Kong Island, doesn't it? Skull Island or whatever the new,
Don't get me
the
started.
new version of King Kong. Okay, now first of all,
Skull
this
Island.
isn't the kind of picture that they portrayed the original Oumuamua.
No, the first picture
Cylindrical spacecraft,
was this long, spindly thing that was like 7 times longer than it was wide.
Well, and it was claimed to
bloody,
be.
bloody,
They
blah.
claimed that it could possibly have been a space extraterrestrial visitors
yeah, it
flashing
was
through
not.
on a drive-by.
Going, nah. Right.
Well, the cool thing, then somebody did point out, hey, if you just saw it on Edge, it might look like
Right,
that.
it might, yeah.
Because
sure.
this is the new. It says a new painting by William K. Hartman, who does all kinds of great
He does
stuff.
fantastic artwork.
Senior scientist emeritus. So it just gives a little bit of background about the object first seen from the Pan-STARRS people in Hawaii who were looking for, possible Earth endangering objects.
So I just put my cursor over the image and said this painting by William K. Hartman, who is senior scientist emeritus at the Planetary Sciences Institute in Tucson, Arizona, is based on a commission. Let me get it back. Based on a commission from blah blah blah, shows a concept that the Oumuamua object as a pancake-shaped disc.
Yeah. Well, that sounds
Okay.
even more like if so.
And if so,
it seems
yeah.
more like a. Well, no, it gives the thing about this article that I like is that they're not claiming they've completely solved the mystery,
Right.
but based on it did some weird things. Like this thing's actually sped up as it was leaving.
Yeah, but how much did it speed
Well,
up?
and at one point they say that it seemed like. Well, anyway, just as you
Yeah.
read down through this, the thing that's kind of cool is they were trying to figure out whether they figured that the fact that it would be speeding up after it was going past the sun and then it continued to accelerate was that they
Right.
thought there must be some
Some
significant gassing.
ices and right.
There's some
It
gassing
says,
off.
It says they also observed that while the object acquired a slight push away from the sun, a rocket effect common in comets as sunlight vaporizes the ice they are made of, the push was stronger than could be accounted for. Finally, the
Yeah.
object lacked a detectable escaping gas, which is usually depicted visibly by a comet's tail. But see, if you just had a little bit, you're not going to see that.
Well, that's true.
In all, the object was very much like a comet, but unlike any comet that had ever been observed in the solar system. I'm going to stop right there and say, you know why? Because it is unlike any comet
Well,
that's
there
ever been
you go.
observed in the solar system.
We'll give them that. Yeah.
His thing hadn't been in interplanetary space, it had been in interstellar space.
Yeah, in between our systems.
And I am
whatever.
going to throw out an idea right here. Imagine that rather than it outgassing carbon dioxide,
Yeah.
or something that you might see easily, okay, or a water of vapor, what if it outgassed, argon gas?
Oh, yeah. You know what? You're very close
Okay.
here.
Because if it outgassed argon gas or
Don't say
helium
Don't say Krypton. That's all I'm
gas
going to say.
or krypton gas, what would happen was these are not going to be
right.
detected as easily as the other ones because you're not looking for them.
Well, see, since you're just saying this for the first time, I'm going to
I
tell you.
am seeing this for the
If
first
you
time.
scroll down, you'll find
Okay.
out that one of the cool things also the appearance of the surface and a bunch of stuff has led them to believe that it is nitrogen ice.
Okay. His thing has been unbelievably cold for a long, long time. So any a molecule of gas that comes close to this is going to stick. And then it's going to outgas when it gets into the inner solar system. Unlike any object we've ever seen, it is because it's unlike any object we've ever seen. His thing has been in interstellar space for tens, if not hundreds of thousands of years.
And I like the thing where they basically say when it gets to our solar system and it starts to melt away like a bar of soap.
Yeah.
Now, there's a cool little map down there that shows its ejection from its parent system, approximately, what time, and it shows
Approximately
some.
0.4 billion years ago.
Now, you notice it's like a big chunky thing, and then it's eroded by galactic cosmic
rays.
When it enters the solar system, 1995 is when they believe it entered, and then as it goes by and swings past the sun, you can see that it starts to, as it's leaving,
Sure.
it is a bare sliver of itself.
Yeah.
Very cool.
That makes perfect sense. Yeah. So I just wanted to say that or the people that go, oh, it was a solar sail.
Yeah,
Wrong.
well, those were people who were
It's-
promoting the concept of solar cells, even if they're.
Those are people that are promoting themselves.
Well, they were at a big school too. They were they weren't just at
I believe the term is Harvard.
Harvard. Yeah.
Harvard.
So
Yeah.
this is cool. And the idea of quickly. I mean, there's nothing wrong with saying, "Hey, here is a hypothesis."
Oh,
it could be.
Absolutely. In fact, I have no problem with that.
I
In
like
fact, you
that,
should
yeah.
be doing that. But that shouldn't be your only thing to say.
Yeah, but that's
say,
the most-
well, obviously it's a solar sail. No, it's not.
Yeah.
Because a solar sail, number one, okay, is going to be thousands of times larger.
Yeah.
Okay, in all directions, a solar sail, a useful solar sail, a solar sail that is the size of Oumuamua, which, by the way, is supposed to be pronounced Rama, R-A-M-A.
Yeah, that's
is
I figured we'd get
is
that
too,
in, right?
You knew it. Is too small. So for the people that are going on and on about, oh, it's a solar sail. No, it's not a solar sail. If you're saying it's a solar sail, it's because you don't understand what a solar sail is.
It's because they want to talk about solar cells.
It's because they want to talk about themselves.
Yeah.
A solar sail has to have an enormous area to be able to use the minute
So
pressure
let me see if I have
of
this
light.
clear. So you would probably not design a solar sail that looks like a needle-like object.
No, I would not.
I was
First
thinking-
of all,
I was thinking you
and it doesn't need to be 100 meters long or 100 meters across. It needs to be hundreds of kilometers across or thousands of
Whoa,
kilometers.
wait, maybe it was invisible.
Oh, now we're talking. Yes,
It was-
obviously it was invisible.
It was graphene, and it was
It was
and it was invisible. All right. Now listen, this next story, I am going to appreciate your views as a physicist because, I mean, Libby and I are mostly biologists, and nobody's trying to destroy our science. But here it is. Here it
well,
is.
they should.
Here's the muon wobble.
Move on.
They're trying to basically say the various different places I saw this. This one is from Quanta magazine.
Move on.
The big thing that everybody has always said is like, well, this could destroy physics as we know. I'm going,
Well,
hey, whoa,
and
whoa.
you know what? There's nothing wrong with that because the only way to get from point A to point B is to get there. And the getting there means you've got to leave point A.
Yeah.
And if leaving point A means you have to find something new about
like
the
that,
science, then that's how we do it. That's how we progress. That's how the science works. So yes, ooh, what a nifty little thing that's swirling around in my screen. That's kind
Yeah,
of
that's.
I'm not sure what that's all about. That's cool.
Is it the Fourth of July? Well, I think they're showing it coming into and going out of existence.
Wow.
I think because it says here. They'll read right below it. It'll tell you.
It
Virtual
says,
particles.
elementary particles crackle with the energy of virtual particles that constantly pop into and out of existence.
Whoa, wait a minute.
Fermiland's muon G2 experiment has found strong evidence that the standard the standard model of particle physics can't fully account for what's going on.
Well, that's not destroying
super.
anything.
Well, what that's doing is that's saying, oh, we're going to take what you thought, and we're going to change it for what may be reality or
So-
closer to reality, which is what science is all about.
And so they got some real good.
I'm all for that.
The physicists at the Fermi National Accelerator Laboratory near Chicago announced today that muons, the elementary particles similar to electrons, see,
Similar
there's
to
another
electrons,
thing.
but about 200 times more massive. And you'll note that I'm not saying way 200 times
No.
more. No, they're about 200 times more massive.
Now, the thing that they expected it to have a certain amount of wobble in a strong magnetic field,
Sure.
as it was whipping around.
As
But
it
unfortunately,
spins.
it says the theoretical prediction was significantly overshot.
Yep.
This was they calculated amongst a consortium of 132 theoretical physicists what they thought it would be, and it's a big difference. So this is cool.
Yeah.
It's 11:45.
For
you,
those of you
Trevor.
who follow such things, it was 4.2 sigma as opposed to
Well on the way to the
stringent-
stringent 5 sigma level that physicists need to claim a discovery.
Don't you
So
claim it,
it's
yeah.
4.2. That's pretty close to 5, which means that there is enough seen there that people are going,
Yeah.
maybe we're seeing something new. And every person that's into science wants to see something new because that means that it adds to the overall. And that means that now you have to take this new thing and take it back to the old thing and see if it fits. And if it fits, then the old theory works. If it doesn't fit, then you get the thrill of creating a new idea.
And so, it's kind of a long story
theory.
short on this is the people that are really excited say this is extraordinary and really exciting because it suggests that there's some there are unknown particles that are giving them an extra push. But then if you scroll down and find out that immediately somebody throws on the table another paper that basically states that it's kind of a recalculation of its magnetic moment. It basically says that it's basically just what you would expect. Now, this sounds, I could just see the scientists down at the pub arguing and the fist fighting over this whole thing.
Oh, it's going to be ugly.
I'm just going to leave it with the last.
Move on.
So now we're in this controversy, and it couldn't have been a better name. Zoltan Fodor. This is
They're making this
no,
up.
this is the perfect name. Zoltan Fodor, a theoretical particle physicist at Pennsylvania State, who says, and this is going to be the final word, this is a very sensitive and interesting situation. Well, there you are.
Wow.
Stay tuned. We're gonna keep watching. Okay, now
Yo, mama.
Now, since Robert, I know it's written into your contract that you will not appear on Radio Science News unless we always put up any story that comes out about graphene,
Yes.
especially unusual stories about
It's
graphene.
in the contract.
This is real. First of all, it has a great little image of layers of
right,
graphene,
let's check it out
graphene that
here.
someone put together. Here's the thing let's look at this. A graphene system that freezes electrons as the temperature rises.
Okay, so when you freeze an electron, are you making it stand? Well, if you're freezing an electron, then obviously the electron can't go anywhere.
Yeah, I'm assuming that they mean that
Okay.
it stops, because
Must-
the term freeze is kind of
Yeah. So as the temperature rises in the graphene, then the movement of electrons slow.
yeah. Or maybe
Possibly
it might
to
even
zero.
just be the spin. Wait a minute. It says, in an attempt to explain why. Okay, here's what it says. They placed one layer of graphene atop another, and then twisting the one on top resulted in a graphene state in which the electrons would freeze as the temperature rose. Okay, now let's see if we can get any clarity.
Okay, so
In
we've got a
attempt-
layer with a layer on top,
In attempt-
and then there's a twist.
And in attempting to explain why this was observed, they discovered the entropy of the near insulating phase was approximately half of what would have been expected from free electron spins.
Well, it had some.
So now, basically, they
that
may be
makes
saying
obvious
that they stopped, because we were thinking about them moving maybe,
Moving.
in X, Y, Z, but it looks like they're talking
But we're
about
talking
the
about
electron spin. Now, they
It says, as temperatures around most substances rise, the particles they are made of are excited. This results in solids melting to liquids and liquids turning to a gas.
thermodynamics.
This is
right
explained
there.
by thermodynamics. Higher temperatures lead to more entropy, which is a description of disorder. In this new effort, both teams found an exception to this rule. A graphene system in which the electrons freeze as the temperature rises. The graphene system is very simple. Okay, okay. So
isospin. So yeah, we're talking about spin.
so the So they're saying that there was a magic angle of the twist of just 1 degree. The Morey pattern, oh, that's so cool, the Morey pattern, that led to a lower velocity of electrons in the system, which in turn led to more resistance, bringing the system close to being an insulator.
Wow.
So a Morey pattern is a pattern that results from 2 patterns overlaying,
And then
and
forming
a
a
third pattern is
emerging,
produced.
yeah.
Oh, that's really slick.
So this is really cool. We're going to see, I'm looking further. It says they suggested that as the temperature in the system rose, it moved closer to becoming a ferromagnet.
Yeah. Wow. Okay, there's a lot going on here. Okay,
sure
we're going to need to read through this and figure out exactly what it's talking about.
that's cool.
This is nifty neat.
That is cool stuff.
This is very cool.
Yeah. So, wow.
So if you rotate it only 1 degrees, one plane of graphene to the other, so they're not completely aligned, they're just off 1 degree, you create this third image of the electron. Wow. And it brings the system close to being an insulator. Wow, that's truly cool.
So graphene is very interesting stuff, and will continue to be really interesting stuff. What if they had 3 layers? Oh no! What if they took 3 layers and twisted it into a double helix? I don't know. This is
it would probably crawl
too
away.
much. It's too much. All right. This is a really good story. Good news story from
Hanserkir?
President Biden pushes for a new. He wants a new agency, which he's going to fund at the starting level of $6.5 billion.
Well, he
should do it.
He has been
This is science.
talking
Wow.
about doing this for years and years and years.
Yeah. Well, and the thing is, if you talk
Good
about
for him.
you talk about throwing, oftentimes people say, "Well, I don't want to throw good money after bad." If there is anything in our environment, and of course, coronavirus kind of
Sure.
expresses a similar
Exactly.
thing.
Yes.
If you were able to add up the enormous, forget about adding it up. Let's say that by doing something, you could eliminate the enormous costs. And, we're not just talking about monetary, but
Right. The costs.
the cancer is just
all the way across costs. In fact, let's do just some interesting math. Let's say that there's 7.8 billion people on the earth right now.
Yeah.
And let's say the cost of having cancer, let's say that's only $1 per person. That's $7.8 billion. They're only asking for $6.5 billion, and you and I both know that the
cost of
of cancer is hundreds of thousands of dollars for everybody. When you include the pain and the suffering and a loss of jobs and life and on.
It's enormous, and so I'm absolutely.
This is less than $1 per every person on the planet. So when you say, "Gee, is this a good investment?" Yeah, this is a fantastic investment. This would be like if in 2010 somebody said, "Coronaviruses, if we were to invest $1 billion a year," and people would go, "Are you insane?
Yeah.
$1 billion a year on coronavirus? What has the coronavirus
People
outbreak
get
done to us?
colds, yeah,
It's
no big
cost
deal.
tens of
Yeah.
trillions of dollars.
Oh yeah.
Trillions of dollars.
This goes back to I'm sure your grandmother and mine would say, "Penny wise and pound foolish."
That's
by
right.
trying to save a penny here and then.
And right.
Well, and a lot of people did take that stance and worked hard to set up things and they continue. As like I said, the thing with Dr. Bright and the Rockefeller Foundation and many others, they understand that you got to be thinking of the next thing.
You have to be thinking of that.
You have to be thinking
Yes.
way ahead. Now, this CRISPR, this last thing about CRISPR is pretty deep in the weeds.
CRISPR off.
CRISPR is such a big deal. And again, I find this so amazing, Rob. This comes from the phys.org people, the folks at physics.org. the part that's really fascinating about this is it's a reversible CRISPR method.
You were talking to me about this, and I'm not sure I quite understand.
Well, I didn't, and of course, if you just look at the diagram, you can see right there. There's
Off
a
and
switch,
on.
CRISPR on, CRISPR off. This is
Well,
kind,
that explains
this
everything.
is kind of like when you get up in the morning, Robert, and you take your English muffin and you put it in your toaster. It has that thing that says, it has one dark, darker,
Dark and light,
medium,
burn, crisp,
crisp. How crisp can you have it?
smoke.
Okay, so now we always assume everybody knows what CRISPR is because
Not everybody does.
I want to say some people say you guys are such nerds that you think everybody might even know what CRISPR
That's true.
hyphen Cas9. What the heck? So anyway, but over the past, as it says, over the past decade, the CRISPR hyphen Cas9 gene editing system has revolutionized genetic engineering, allowing scientists to make targeted changes to organisms' DNA. While the system could potentially be useful in treating a variety of diseases, CRISPR-Cas9 editing involves, it's just a remarkable way that they were able to literally cut and put strands in place. It involves cutting DNA strands leading to permanent changes
Yes.
in the cell's
Forever
genetic
changes.
material.
Yes.
And then a lot of people think, well, what if that is, there's a lot of issues when something is permanent.
Sure.
I mean, because
true.
it's permanent and it's reproducing and it's
Right.
things are happening. But go ahead and read through a little bit of this, and you'll be as astonished as I was.
Okay. It says, now in a paper published online in Cell. I didn't get my Cell on April 9th. Researchers describe a new gene editing technology called CRISPR-off that allows researchers to control gene expression with high specificity while leaving the sequence of the DNA unchanged. I thought we just heard that it's supposed to make permanent changes.
Well, see that the original,
this is cool.
the Cas9 actually
Okay.
does, but
Okay.
go ahead.
So the CRISPR-Cas9 editing involves cutting DNA strands leading to permanent changes in the cell's genetic material. But the CRISPR-off, it appears,
It works with the epigenetics. That's the whole
Yes.
key of this thing.
okay, leaving the sequence of DNA unchanged. Okay, design da da da.
Now, but here's the cool part. Since it's also unchanged, but then it
says
says
the method is stable
there.
enough to be inherited through hundreds of cell divisions and is also fully reversible.
See, this is really
So you can change the genetics, and then anytime that you say I'm done changing the genetics, I want to change it back to what it was.
Yeah, you just
you just do it.
well, because the big thing that I had to wrap my brain around was the fact that
Wow.
what they're doing is they're going, well, we're not changing that DNA strand.
Right. We're changing the way it is expressed.
Right. And the biggest,
Okay,
the
gotcha.
biggest, one of the biggest things that has come, people thought, oh, we're going to sequence the human genome,
Right.
or we're going to sequence the flatworm genome. They did all this stuff. And a lot of the problem is, well, okay, we now know what the sequence is, but then the question would be, when they talk about epigenetics, it's like, what does this gene do? What does it cause? And so the idea that you could then go to, say any gene in this whole genomic thing, and you could either turn it on and off and then find out what happens,
Wow.
is an enormously powerful, not only
Yeah.
research thing in terms of finding how things work, but I'm going down here. Okay, it says the sort of modifications which scientists call epigenetic. Genes may be silenced or activated based on, we have Livy's got whatever's, what is that? Is that the little flatworm?
This is that C. elegans.
Oh, yeah. We're down at the Smart Center Market where we have cool science toys, and I now have my cute little C. elegans here. Oh my gosh. Anyway, so one of the things they talk about, it says the sort of modifications are called epigenetic. Genes are silenced or activated, and problems with the cell's epigenetics are responsible for many human diseases, such as Fragile X syndrome and various cancers. See, Biden's going to want to know about this. And then they're passed on. And it goes on to talk about the mechanism, methylation, the DNA, and how it works. But they have a couple other things that they talk about too. This is, but with the new CRISPR technology, you can express a protein to write a program that's remembered and carried out indefinitely by the cell. It changes the game, and now The idea is building the switch. We're going to run out of time before I can even. But the whole point of it is, you now have the ability to, if you have a gene and you're thinking, I wonder if that's responsible for this problem or this good thing.
You can actually turn it on and off.
You can turn it off, and then of course the research.
And you're not going to change anything.
Yeah, this whole concept.
Wow.
And they're doing a lot of this with stem cells and things. So basically, by turning and turn on and off, sections of stem cells and finding out what that does, they're looking at something that, like for example, they say codes for the tau protein, which is Alzheimer's disease.
Right.
This is just wild stuff.
This is unbelievable.
This is really big. Anyway, epigenetics, and I probably have just enough time as I look at the rest of this article to invite you guys all back to Radio Science News next week. We're on Saturday mornings from 11 till 12. And then on our page, radiosciencenews.org, is all the information you need to find out when, in fact, you can see us again.